Good morning, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. Thank y'all so much for stepping back in to see what I have to say. I promise y'all, it truly does mean the world to me. But with that being said, what are we talking about? We're talking about Crypto Week, you guys. We're talking about the U.S. government in this one, you guys. Stick around, and you already know how it ties into our favorite utility tokens, our Quant. Yes, our Quant, I'll show you, our XRP, our XLM, our XDCs, our ODAs, all of these wonderful ISO compliant utility tokens that have been quietly, methodically over the past 2 or 3 years, working in the background, solidifying partnerships and literally befriending and onboarding your technology into governments and central banks. Multinational corporations, you guys. Here we go. Crypto Week. I told you guys this was going to happen. I've been saying this now since maybe middle of last year, that we were going to have comprehensive regulation signed here in America before the end of 2025. You can go back to some of my stuff in November. You can even go back to some of my stuff that I was just doing 3 months ago saying this, because America cannot be left behind. We have an ISO standard that just went live here in America as far as our, switch, which was ISO 222. ISO 0022. If you don't know what it is, Google it, look it up. Get familiar with what's happening with this regime change, because all of it is in alignment with the global onboarding of distributed ledger technology, entering into the realm of Web 3.0. All these things are happening for a reason. And a big part of that is our money being able to move via the internet. Not with an old archaic electronic system that takes days to settle because it goes through multiple different branches. No, it needs to be able to literally hit send, settled. That's what they want. And they have now done the very first thing, which is sign comprehensive regulation in regards to it here in America. Now, last year we got MiCA, which was the EU's stablecoin legislation. But for whatever reason, their stage, I guess, isn't as big as America's is on the global stage. So although it was big news, it wasn't known globally. America, you already know how our government is. It is forced upon the world as America to bold, America to this. So I know the world saw this yesterday. For the first time in American history, a U.S. president, or yes, I'll say a U.S. president, signing comprehensive standalone legislation for anything in the distributed ledger technology / blockchain technology / crypto sector, okay? Follow me on this, okay, you guys? But here we go. This very first video, I know it was kind of a little long rant. It's the mainstream news. Just a few moments to see what they had to say in regards to this monumental. Y'all, the future is so bright. Oh my God. I will be right back.
Hey, Carl. Yes, the House has now passed with really strong bipartisan support a measure that would basically say when a digital asset is a commodity, when is it a security. And this is the one that for the crypto industry, this is the #1 priority for them. It's a wide ranging bill. It now goes on to the Senate. And look, there are concerns about the Senate's ability to get this done. There are debates between the House and the Senate in what the bill should look like. Also concerns about potentially getting Democratic support in the Senate. But what we just saw happen on the House floor, 78 Democrats crossed the aisle and voted with Republicans on that bill. That's relevant because the last time the House voted on a similar measure, they got 71 Democrats. So, and actually very strong bipartisan support. Does not seem that Democrats were deterred by the fact that Donald Trump and his family are profiting off of crypto. That's something that came up a lot in debates today on the Democratic side, but it doesn't seem to have depressed the number of Dems who are willing to back this legislation. So now we are seeing the House go ahead and take a vote on the stablecoin bill. That one, again, is expected to have a strong bipartisan showing, and that is expected to be sent to Trump's desk, where he could sign it into law tomorrow. We're hearing tomorrow afternoon.
Now, you guys just saw not just one piece of legislation pass through the House, But the most important piece of that legislation as far as of right now was because one part, like we already talked about, the Genius Act had already made it through the Senate. Y'all, so we already knew as soon as it hit the House, and if the House did that green light, it was going to be a go straight to Trump's desk. I've been saying this now for months. I'm so excited to see this time in history. We are truly seeing something that has not been seen in almost 50 years, which is literally a new onboarding of a technology that is getting ready to springboard your entire financial system for decades. Like this is literally the foundation. That's why in that Fed Now video that I've showed you guys before, you have to remember, they say this is a roadmap. They even show you like multiple years of things coming out on top of the Fed Now. So this is just the beginning, you guys. Understand that this is the foundation that's being laid so that your ISO, your Quant, your hedera, your XRP, your XLM, your XDCs, these things that are your ADAs. I don't want to leave any out because I always get somebody in my comments saying you left one out. All of the ISOs and any other compliant project, your ZBACs, you know what I'm saying? B chains, these companies that have been facilitating and putting in the work for the past 3.5, 4 years, solidifying infrastructure within companies and countries and central banks that are now getting ready to onboard the technology that they have already been doing all of these trials with for the past 3.5, 4 years. Project Meridian, Project Rosalind, Project Hamilton, Project Helvetia, Project Enbridge, Project Agora, like all of these projects that we've been talking about on my channel and other people's channels, like my boy Maximus Crypto, people like my boy Apex. Understand, you know, these people have been bringing us gems because it is literally showing you infrastructure players. Most people are not going to have no clue what is doing the rails of the transactions. They'll just know they have a new something called a stable coin and it move money real fast and it's cheaper. That's all they're going to know. And for the people, think about it. For the people who are on things like Social Security, disability, Social Security, period. These are all payment systems. The people who get paid for if you're not from America, they get a check from the government for certain things. Either they're retired or they have some type of disability. Things like child support payments. All of these things are going digital. All of these things are going digital. My sister got a letter in the mail and they were speaking about the new digital wallet in regards to child support payments. All of these things are going digital, you guys, because all of these things are getting ready to get the biggest upgrade in American history as far as the financial systems are concerned. Because if it was just the money, it would be one thing, but it's the money and it's the stock market and the derivative market, it's all of the markets, all of the everything that we do, because it's not just the money starting to move digitally, it's the assets as well that's getting ready to start moving digitally. We're talking so many transactions, the commodities market, that's why I couldn't get out earlier. We're talking so many transactions that you can't even see because a player like Franklin Templeton has already coupled itself with XLM Stellar. What? Understand these partnerships that have been strategically made on this journey. I will be right back. I am getting ready to hop into the actual passing of the Genius Act, okay? Follow me on this. So here we go, right from our House of Representatives, just a little short clip of them voting and the actual passing of the Genius Act, and I will be right back.
Finished business in the vote on passage of Senate 1582, on which the yeas and nays are ordered. The clerk will report the title of the bill.
Senate 1582, an act to provide for the regulation of payment stablecoins and for other purposes.
The question is on passage of the bill. Members will record their votes by electronic device. The ayes are 308 and the nays are 122. The bill is passed without objection. A motion to reconsider is laid to the table.
Now you guys just saw history be made. We literally, not one, not two, but three historic bills was sent through one of the legislative branches in our country in one day. And they did it during something called Crypto Week. Understand where we sit. Because that one day, that Crypto Week, I'm telling you, will be a part of your great-grandchildren's or your grandchildren's history when they're learning about the fourth industrial revolution, when the revolution of blockchain hit the world. Understand what we are living through. Understand what you're having a opportunity in doing, and knowing about the infrastructure for that revolution that's being laid. And understand what infrastructure is. That means everything that will flow through that revolution will touch the infrastructure, because the infrastructure keeps it all up and running and operational. Until new infrastructure is put in place. That's the reason why we've had that old infrastructure for almost 50 years. Understand what is happening right now in 2025, and you knowing that the things you know, because you follow this channel and other people's channel of value of the players that have already coupled themselves with the entities that literally shape global policy and move economies. Y'all, here we go. A little bit more diving into this Genius Act, you guys. Understand that this was something historic. I have our Commander-in-Chief coming up next. He is doing a speech before the Genius Act was passed, and then he's actually have the signing of the Genius Act as well. This is history, you guys. I promise you it is. Trust me. I'm always going somewhere. But I don't have his whole speech, y'all, because y'all, two things. He could talk, and he talked for a long time, and you can say a lot about Donald Trump, but one thing in that list of a lot of things you got to say, that man is funny, because some of the things he say is just like you can't help but laugh at him. But anyway, so here is some from that speech. I want you to hear the words that are coming out of the American's president's mouth, the sitting president's mouth, as he signs a historic piece of legislation into law. Understand that the only way to ever overturn this law is to have a literally act of Congress. And think about this. If this was voted through so bipartisanly, that means both sides work together, which I also have been saying since last year. This was going to be comprehensive regulation, and they were going to push it through bipartisanly. Why? Because America cannot fall behind. The rest of the world is getting in alignment, and if America does not, it can no longer do global commerce. Understand what that means when you are isolated from everybody in everybody else's payment system. If this was going to happen regardless, you guys, ISO 222. Follow me on this. Okay, so now here we go. Our Commander-in-Chief, Donald Trump.
The Genius Act. This is really a big day. This afternoon, we take a giant step to cement American dominance of global finance and crypto technology as we sign the landmark Genius Act into law. So congratulations to everybody. Let me say the entire crypto community, for years, you were mocked and dismissed and counted out. You were counted out as little as a year and a half ago. But this signing is a massive validation. And even before this signing, over the last year and a half, I think your stuff has gone up more than any stock, or just about more. A couple of stocks that were pretty good, I will say. But you have certainly, as an industry, gone up more than anybody. Nobody's gained the respect in such a short period of time. But this signing is a massive validation of your hard work and your pioneering spirit and your ability to never give up. Pledge that we would bring back American liberty and leadership and make the United States the crypto capital of the world, and that's what we've done. And under the Trump administration, this is only going further. You're going to do really well. Stop the weaponization of government against crypto and Bitcoin, and we ended the lawless operation Choke Point 2.0. That was a bad operation. and I kept my promises to the community. In the truly momentous act last March, I signed an executive order establishing the U.S. Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, as well as the United States Digital Asset Stockpile, and that's all signed up. And with today's signing, we're pushing even further into the exciting new frontier. Just as I promised last year, the Genius Act creates a clear and simple regulatory framework to establish and unleash the immense promise of dollar-backed stable coins. This could be perhaps the greatest revolution in financial technology since the birth of the internet itself. Many Americans are unaware that behind the scenes, the technical backbone of the financial system is decades out of date, many, many years out of date. You know that. Paul and others are straightening it out, but payments and money transfers are costly and take days or even weeks to clear. Under this bill, the entire ancient system will be eligible for a 21st century upgrade using the state-of-the-art crypto technology. The Genius Act provides banks, businesses, and financial institutions a framework for issuing crypto assets backed one-for-one with real U.S. dollars, treasury bills, and other cash equivalents. It's really strengthening the dollar, and consumers, vendors, and people all over the world will then be able to use those stable coins for ultra-low-cost transactions that are cleared and settled in a matter of seconds rather than weeks and months. And it's really an amazing thing. And with the privacy, flexibility, and decentralization of cash, this revolution has the potential to supercharge American economic growth and empower billions of people to save and transfer in U.S. dollars. It's really all backed by the dollars. It's really a great thing. And a lot of, we had a lot of Democrat support. I have to tell you that. I was shocked anytime you get one but we had a tremendous amount of Democrat support, which we appreciate, and which just shows you that you're doing the right thing. This will increase demand for U.S. Treasuries, lower interest rates, and secure the dollar's status as the world's reserve currency for generations to come. The reserve currency is so important. If we lost that, that would be like losing a world war. I also remain fully committed to my pledge never to allow the creation of a central bank digital currency in America. It won't happen. This week in office, I signed an executive order to ban the creation of a CBDC in the United States, and very soon I look forward to signing legislation that will codify and ban make it a permanent law, put it in permanence. I'm also committed to signing landmark crypto market structure legislation this year to grow the industry. We're going to be growing it even more than people ever thought. It's a really hot industry. So the golden age of America is upon us, and with today's signing, the future of crypto and the crypto industry, the U.S. dollar working together, because they really are hand in hand, is going to be stronger and bigger and better than ever before. And I just want to thank everybody, some tremendous people in this room. And maybe when I sign, I'll ask some of our great senators and congressmen to come on up. Some of the top crypto guys, please come on up, because you guys work very hard at this. And we'll sign this, and we'll get on to the next battle, and we'll win. But we're winning all over the world right now. It's not even close, not even close, and we're going to keep it going. Thank you, everybody, very much. Thank you. Hello, fellas.
Next again, please. Thank you so much.
Good.
When?
Yeah.
Sir,
You got it?
thank you so much.
This is not an auto pen, by the way. Which is a big scandal. If that were a Republican, it would really be a big scandal. But it is one of the great scandals of our time. Thank you very much, everybody.
Now, you have heard the term revolutionary thrown so many times. Remember what I said. This is an industrial revolution. This is why they keep calling this the golden age. This is why they keep calling it revolutionary, because when industrial revolutions happen, if you are cementing yourself in the infrastructure of their revolution, you make a lot of money. You got to go back and research these families that I talk about during the golden age and why they were a part of the golden age. And it's because they were investing in the infrastructure of America being built out in the 1800s, when things like the shipping empire was going on and things like the railroad empire. That's actually, I believe it was the Vanderbilts, if I'm not mistaken. That's how they became the richest family. It was just one man, I believe it was Cornelius. He was the richest man in the world. But it's because he had the shipping empire, which was the infrastructure for goods to flow through the country. Understand and hear what I'm saying right now. Now see that once that he had the foresight to see that the next infrastructure that was being laid, although shipping would maintain and be important, was the railroads. So then he started building railroads. So now, not only did you have the infrastructure of the goods coming into the country or out of the country, but you also had the infrastructure for those goods to go through the country. Now understand what distributed ledger technologies is, and understand what these transactions that are getting ready to start going through, flowing through. It is the same exact thing as your great-grandparents investing in the railroad, and you still held that wealth today because it is infrastructure that is being laid right now. And to truly understand and see that in the Genius Act, when they talked about things being immutable and programmable, please understand that that is overledger. Please understand that because it is the same exact thing that it's doing for the Bank of England with Project Rosalind. It's the same exact thing that it's doing now with the digital euro for the central bank of Europe. It's the same exact thing that it did for the Bank of Canada during Project Rosalind. It's the same exact thing, follow me on this, that it's doing for Australia. Although I did just bring you an hedera video about hedera working alongside of the central bank with the whole CBDC thing and the whole tokenization thing, because it's happening. It's a real thing. But understand what in that video, what was said, that the Bank of Australia will supply its CBDC. You need to bring your own nodes to be able to do what you need to do. What does that sound like to you? It sounds like overledger fusion to me. It's because that is exactly what they're doing, providing the programmability of their CBDC payments. Go back, watch my videos, see the things that I'm talking about. This is the reason why I stop and I say, hey, really listen to the words that's coming out, because these words matter. So when you see things like programmability, when it's coming to payments, things like interoperability, understand, because these things are tied to standards. ISO, TC 307, that's the global standard for building on blockchain, that has coupled itself not only with that standard, but even standards coming out of the IEEE, even standards coming out of INAPA, and several other standard organizing bodies, all tapping into and building a coalition for blockchain and distributed ledger technologies. I have brought you these videos. If y'all been riding with me, y'all know that I'm telling the truth right now. And understand that you have a player like ISO TC 307 that is the global standard for building on blockchain. And then you see things like the interoperability part of that and understand who's associated with that, to see that although I may not be this interoperability company, let's just say like a link, but if I'm a part of the standard of how that interoperability is operating, you have no choice but to use my technology alongside of whatever, like Gilbert said in their video. We not only connect blockchains, but we also connect interoperability blockchains. Understand, as a matter of fact, it's been a long video. No, I'll bring that to you. It's been a long video. Nope, I'll bring that to you. I'll bring it to you later. But he says out of his mouth, we also connect interoperability blockchains. Understand that these people are providing infrastructure, even like a link, like they are literally cementing themselves. A lot of people that was on that stage yesterday, cementing themselves, because these companies will be known as the distributed ledger asset sector. Just like you have like the Mag 7 and all of these things, you're going to have these players that are providing critical infrastructure, codifying these relationships and cementing themselves in brand names like a Hedera, like a Ripple, indirectly XRP, which we already know the relationship, like things like a stellar. Y'all understand what's happening right in front of our face. I won't hold y'all too much longer. And I know this was a long video. And if y'all tapped in and y'all roll with me on this video, I truly, truly, truly appreciate y'all. I promise that I do, okay? If you made it all the way through this whole entire video, type in Genius Act. Because that act being signed into law, my God, and that infrastructure that's coming in behind that act that is getting ready to literally power economies and countries, real-time gross settlement systems. And the transactions that's going to flow through the networks of that infrastructure will be historic. Understand what you hold and truly see that this is so much bigger than a 4-year Bitcoin cycle. And it's so much bigger than anything that you could possibly imagine. And if you have the wherewithal to see that vision and understand what 2026, 2027, 2028, 2029, 2030 and beyond will be for the distributed ledger asset sector when they are providing critical infrastructure for economies to be ran on top of. Please understand what's truly being laid out right now in 2025. Until the next time, y'all already know. I appreciate y'all. Peace out.